Welcome back, everyone, to Building Better Relationships in Construction. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Sabrina, and this is episode 7. It's great to have you with us.
Today, we are diving into a really fascinating and, I think, incredibly practical technique for managing client relationships, especially when things get a little tense.
The tense moments. We're once again drawing from the brilliant book, Building Better Relationships, a guide to enhancing the customer experience for builders, remodelers, and construction managers, by author Paul Schwinghammer.
That's Schwinghammer for everyone listening. What a great name for a home builder. He has over 3 decades of building custom homes, as well as speaking and teaching to the industry. And yeah, his advice is just so grounded in reality. This specific topic is about finding the balance between, being firm on your standards and knowing when to bend a little.
He calls it the be strict then give in technique. And I know it sounds a bit contradictory, but when you see how it works, it makes perfect sense.
It really does. So let's paint a picture. Paul uses this scenario that I think every builder or remodeler can relate to. Imagine you're doing a drywall inspection with a client.
Okay, I'm picturing it. This is already giving me anxiety.
Right? So the client is scrutinizing every single inch of the wall. They've got an intense light. They're squinting. They're practically bringing out a magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, the flashlight held sideways against the wall trick. I've heard all about this. They're looking for things that are, they're totally within the ordinary standards of work, right?
Exactly. Stuff you would never notice under normal conditions. And they're demanding absolute, unrealistic perfection. Now, what's your first gut instinct in that moment?
Honestly, to get defensive, to say, look, here are the guidelines. We inspect from 6 feet away. Anything outside of that is not something we fix. You want to just shut it down.
And that's the problem. That response, while technically correct, can feel really abrupt and dismissive to the client. It sounds like you're invalidating their concerns.
Yeah, you're creating resentment. You're turning a small issue with drywall into a much bigger relationship problem, which is the last thing you want.
So this is where that technique from Paul Schwinghammer comes into play. The be strict, then give in method. It's a 2-step approach.
Okay, lay it on me. What's step 1?
Step 1 is you clearly and calmly articulate your standards. This is the be strict part. You're not being aggressive, you're being informative.
So you're setting that professional boundary from a place of confidence, not confrontation.
Precisely. You could say something like, I understand your concerns about the drywall. Let me share the standards we follow for this type of finish. You're just being transparent.
Okay, that makes sense. You're establishing your position as the knowledgeable expert while still showing respect for their view.
Then comes step 2. This is the give in part. After you firmly explain the standards, you gauge how important this is to them. And if they're genuinely bothered, you show flexibility.
Okay, so this is where the magic happens.
It is. You could follow up with, so if you're unable to see the imperfection from 6 feet, it is within our standards. But if it's really bothering you and you'd like us to fix it, we're happy to take care of it now.
Ooh, I like that. Or even, as Paul suggests, something more personal like, if it's really keeping you from sleeping, I'll personally come back and address it now. Just say the word.
Yes, that second part is all about demonstrating that you care. You're not just a robot sticking to the rules. You're willing to go a little further to ensure their satisfaction, but being careful to not come off as condescending, but with a little humor to lighten the mood of the situation.
Absolutely. Schwinghammer mentions that you can use a bit of lightness or humor, but you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, you gotta have a good rapport for that. But if you do, saying something like, this drywall is probably going to haunt you tonight, huh? Let's fix it so you can get some sleep. That can completely diffuse the tension.
Totally. It shows you're approachable. It makes the client feel heard and understood, without feeling like their concerns are being brushed off as trivial.
So let's talk about why this is so effective. It strikes this incredible balance. On one hand, you establish your expertise and high standards, which is critical for your credibility.
Exactly. And I think it's important to understand the psychology behind it. When you just state the rules, the client feels powerless. But when you state the standard and then offer to bend it, you're actually giving them the power. You're saying, here's the boundary, but I trust you to tell me if this is truly important to you.
Right. They see you as a professional.
That's a great point, Alex. But I can hear some of our listeners thinking, what if the client takes advantage of this? What if they start seeing every little thing as something that's truly important to them?
And then, on the other hand, you show your flexibility and demonstrate that you prioritize their needs and their peace of mind. It creates mutual respect.
And it stops a small conflict from escalating. The client sees you as authoritative, but fair. They see you as a partner, not an adversary.
You're essentially turning a potential fight into a relationship-building opportunity. You're showing strength and empathy at the same time.
And as Paul Schwinghammer points out in the book, this isn't just a drywall technique. This can be applied across so many situations.
Oh, for sure. Final inspections, minor budget adjustments, scheduling issues.
Design preferences, anything. The principle is the same. Be firm enough to set expectations and standards, but flexible enough to accommodate reasonable requests when it really benefits the relationship.
That balance fosters trust. It shows clients that while you uphold quality, you are also committed to working collaboratively with them.
So, the big takeaway here, which author Paul Schwinghammer, that's Schwinghammer, just articulates so perfectly, is that balance leads to trust. The customer leaves feeling heard, respected, and cared for.
It's such a powerful mindset shift. And honestly, this is just one small piece of the wisdom in his book. We're barely scratching the surface.
We really are. It's an essential read for anyone in this business.
Remember, you can purchase your copy of the groundbreaking book, Building Better Relationships, a guide to enhancing the customer experience for home builders, remodelers, and construction managers by author Paul Schwinghammer on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in multiple formats.
We highly recommend it. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for episode 7. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Alex. Join us next time as we continue to explore how to build better relationships in construction with episode 8 entitled Gift Wrapping the Situation, a Powerful Relationship Technique. Until then, have a great week.